Hey everybody, Ben here from the Bonehead podcast, and welcome to Blood Bowl Dream Team's Blackhawks. So what we're doing is we're having a look at every team available in Blood Bowl, whether it's from the rulebook, the Teams of Legend PDF, or one of the Spike magazines, and we're kind of piecing together how that team wants to look at different points in its league life, essentially. So we're looking at 1250, 1500, and 1750. So that's 1.25 million, 1.5 million, and 1.75 million. And for most teams, that'll be about halfway through the first season, at the end of the first season, and kind of halfway to the end of a second season. So the whole point of this is to put together some of what I think is going to be the best tabletop versions of those teams at those points. When it comes to playing Blood Bowl 3, it will be different because of the way the grind works. You can get more games in a short time. When we're looking at tabletop, actually 6 months could only be 6 to 10 games, okay, whereas you can get 6 to 10 games in a week, basically, on the Blood Bowl online version. Anyway, if you're planning on playing with Blackhawks, or you're planning on playing against Blackhawks soon in a league environment, this is what your team could look like. And basically, we're going to go through the positionals, which skills work well on them, and in what order to take them. Okay, so Blackhawks are a crunchy team. They rely on strength, and they rely on that brilliant combination between brawler and grab to essentially control the line of slaughter, pass targets back to goblins, and just use everything they can to slow down the game and go one-on-one with the opponent. So when it comes to the Blackhawk team, whether you start out with the troll or not, by 1250 you probably would have enough cash left over to be at this point here. Now, I have historically not been particularly high on trolls, but on the Blackhawk team, the full strength build where you start out with a troll, 6 Blackhawks and 2 rerolls, I really like it. That's what we've been playing with in the Bonehead Championship, and I think it works out really well. You get the full Blackhawk experience. You can ground and pound with that amount of strength. So at 1250, this is probably about 10 games in now for Blackhawks. They don't level up very fast. The Blackhawks themselves don't often score a lot of touchdowns, so you are relying on those casualties to get that SPP brew. So probably about 10 games in, you'll find yourself at the 1250 mark. You've got the troll, and you've got 6 of those Blackhawks. Now, when it comes to leveling up the Blackhawks, they are blockers. So the age-old, what skill do I take on my blockers and when, is always going to be up there. And the classic blocker trio of skills, block, guard, mighty blow, would normally apply, but they start with brawler. So that rush to get to a combat skill isn't quite so necessary. However, that said, starting off, let's say you get 4 guys who get a level up. When it comes to Blackhawks, mighty blow and guard are almost more important than block. I would take one guy with block and he becomes your blitzer, okay? His destiny is to be the sweeper. Ultimately, you want to have 2. You want to have 2 of these linebackers that get block, then they get mighty blow or tackle, depending on how your league's facing up. And they're there to make the blitz actions. The rest of the Blackhawks are there to win out on the line of scrimmage. And those 2 subs, those 2 blitzers that you build in your league, can go on that line of scrimmage and win it. But ultimately, with 4 Blackhawks on the line of scrimmage and 1 troll, you should be strong enough to take on almost any opponent. But the first thing is that 1 Blackhawk gets block to be your blitzer, okay? He's going to be the lead blocker, he's going to be your safety, alright? The other Blackhawks that level up, you want to take a mixture of guard and mighty blow. You've got strength, you've got brawler, and you've got grab, and that grab ability to pass your opponents around to places that are really optimal for you combos incredibly well with guard. So at the 1250 point, I'd say 2 guard, 1 mighty blow, but the next level up is going to go on a mighty blow as well. Now, you're building up this network of guard. Guard is great for fouling as well, and we're going to come back to that in a second. But ultimately, you're there to just pile on that pressure, and that's why you can start sneaking in some mighty blow pieces. Mighty Blow is kind of a win more skill, okay? You've knocked a dude down, regardless of whether you're going to break the armor or not, he's going to be down for half a turn. If you break the armor, he's going to be down for at least 2 turns. And that's where that Mighty Blow piece comes in. Guard is going to help you win the game, but Mighty Blow is going to help push you over the edge. So having a good mixture of those means that you are safe against opponents who are building up guard nets, opponents who have got decent enough strength to take you on. That guard is going to allow you to have that 2-die block all the time. You've got Brawler already, turning those 2-die blocks into 3-die blocks every now and again, essentially. So actually having a smattering of those Mighty Blow players, it's basically going to be able to capitalize on those die rolls. When you power dude down, you get to try and keep him there. So mixing up that guard and Mighty Blow, while not as tempting as block is, you don't have to go that route. Now, if you want to play this consistently as possible, you can take block, but all you're doing then is just giving up the fact that they already have Brawler. Brawler is equivalent to essentially half block. Would I rather have a guy with block and Brawler, or a guy with Brawler and Mighty Blow, or Brawler and Guard? I've got a combat skill that makes them more efficient, and I've got something else as well. That's why I'm a big fan of mixing those other skills in. But having 2 guys in the end with block is going to be super useful as your blitzer core. Now, guard also works on fouling, so having a Goblin Bruiser who scores a couple of touchdowns for you and taking Sneaky Git is a great idea. Now, we haven't done this in the Bonehead Championship because of the way the skills kind of fall, and we've been saving up some SPP, but taking a guy with Sneaky Git, especially at this point where you've got 1 Troll, 6 Blackhawks and 5 Goblins to give you that bench of 12 players, you can bring that Sneaky Git guy on when you're on offense, because then you get the first crack at everything. Think about it. If you've got a couple of guys with block, you've got a couple of guys with grab and guard, you can knock a dude down, use grab to position him between 2 guard players, and run up and Sneaky Git a cheeky foul at +2. That is a great way to combo the kind of strengths of this Blackhawk team. Jump up on another Goblin Bruiser to allow you to paratroop onto the other side of the line of scrimmage. The throw teammate angle is not primary for the Blackhawks, but it is great. And if you can, I mean, we've talked about paratrooping these guys in before many times, but if you can get a Goblin on the other side of the line of scrimmage with jump up, with stunty and that dodge 3++ element, once they're behind enemy lines, they can run around and they are going to force your opponent to assign activations to fighting that Goblin, to trapping that Goblin. And you never know, you might actually be able to paratroop a Goblin over there and sweep up the ball and get a defensive touchdown in 1 or 2 turns. It is a stretch. It is not a priority. Priority is this, which is building your combat contingent with Blackhawks. The Goblins, they've got thick skull, which is cool. They stick around a little bit more than standard Goblins, but they're still as fragile when it comes to dying. So be aware of that. Now, the last thing here is with Goblins who get to 6 SPP. It's not that hard. It's just a couple of TDs. Taking a random normal is an awesome thing to do. Okay, tackle's great, wrestle's great, block's great, sure hands great. There's some great skills. Frenzy's quite entertaining. The only one that I'm not a huge fan of, Fend, is still going to be useful at times. Shadowing is potentially the worst one that we did see in the Bonehead Championship, but getting a Goblin Bruiser and taking that random general is really going to help your team. Kick is phenomenally useful when it comes to the Blackhawk team. You pin them right back, you split their team in half, and you eat the team that's on the line. 3 rerolls and the Apothecary. The Apothecary is really important in this team. You've got numbers because you've got Goblins, that's fine. What you don't have is the ability to wait another 3 months to level up a Blackhawk. So having those Apothecaries there are just going to help keep those SPPs alive, and that's so important for this team. And then you grow to 1500. With the way the Blackhawk team operates, this is going to be somewhere along the lines of 16 games. So if you end of 1 big season, or potentially the kind of middle to end of 2 small seasons. Now, 1500, why is it so hard to get to? You can buy stuff, but you've already bought all your Blackhawks. What we've done here is we've added a 4th team reroll. That takes 120k. You've replaced a couple of Goblins along the way, but there's nothing else to buy. So getting from 1200 to 1500 is all about grinding SPPs, grinding casualties, and that's something that does take a lot of time. But by the time Blackhawks get to 1400, they start cooking, and at 1500, they are a mighty, mighty force. Okay, so the Troll has picked up Brawler. The correct thing to do is to save up 12 SPP to take block on your Troll. But we talked about this in tabletop. That's 3 casualties. How often is a Troll getting a casualty? 1 in every 3 games, maybe. So that's 9 games. How often do you play Blood Bowl in your league? Once a week, that's over 2 months. Okay, if it's every other week, you're looking at 4 months. And it's a case of, do I want to wait another 4 months? Do I want to build my troll for a whole year to get block? Or do I just take Brawler now? Just take Brawler now. It gets that combat skill, and then you can start brewing up for your second skill. And I would rather have Brawler Guard on a player than just block. Okay, a Brawler keeps you consistent on offense. Guard keeps you and everybody else consistent all of the time, including for fouling. So Guard is great when it comes to Blackhawks and just in general, sadly. Okay, your Blackhawks, the block guys now picked up Mighty Blow. There is a massive asterisk here. It depends on your league. Mighty Blow is great for taking on other tough mid-range to heavy teams. You want Mighty Blow. Light teams, you want Tackle. So your Blackhawk blitzers who you're building, the guys who get block, their second skill will be geared towards the environment. Mighty Blow is going to stick a guy down. Okay, he's got block, he's got that ability. Strength 4 block Mighty Blow, it's a great combination. Strength 4 block Tackle, if you're playing an environment that's got Skaven and Wood Elves and actually Lizardmen, Tackle is going to be really important to you because you've got nothing else on this team with Tackle. Another Blackhawks picked up Brawler, so ultimately you're going for 2 blitzers and 4 blockers. This is how your team is going to construct. Those other Blackhawks you want to split half and half wherever possible between Mighty Blow and Guard. So by this point we've got 4 dudes, 3 of them have got Guard and all of them have got Mighty Blow. And again, that will kind of depend on your environment. If you're in an environment where there's not a lot of heavy other teams, Mighty Blow is great for these guys. Tackle is great on maneuverable pieces. You don't really have them in this team, so having a couple of blitzers that you're brewing up to get that Tackle, who you are going to utilize as your mobile contingent in your backfield, awesome. Guys on the line are generally speaking not facing guys with dodge, so Mighty Blow, if you're facing a lighter team, Wood Elves, Skaven, even Dark Elves actually, when you punch them, you want to keep them down. Tackle helps get them down in the first place, but if the guys who are on the line of scrimmage that these dudes are battling with don't have dodge, you don't need Tackle. Mighty Blow works against everybody. So having that spam of Guard Mighty Blow means you're going to be rolling 2 to 3 dice with that +1 against taking out the armor. You get a couple of stuns, you bought yourself a turn where that player does nothing except get in the way, and that is huge, especially because you've got Brawler and you've got Grab, which means when they are going to be in the way, you get to choose whose way they're going to be in. So that's really important. So this is how your combat contingent's shaping up, and all the time you're supporting that troll who's now got Brawler so he can do some good stuff. Goblin Bruiser, we got the sneaky get guy, we got the jump up guy, we got a random guy. There is one goblin on this team that you have to save up the SPP for because you want them to be something special. Taking a random general is awesome fun and you might brew up something special, but actually just keep saving. It keeps your TV down. There's not that many agility skills that are really that great when it comes to these goblins. A jump up paratrooper, a sneaky get guy who then saves up to take dirty player. That's awesome, but it's going to take a while. This guy here, just one guy, saves up 12 SPP, and then you get to pick what's missing. By now, you've got 1 or 2 goblins who've taken a random general. Maybe they've died. Maybe you've got a kick piece. Well, that means, actually, do I want sure hands now, or do I want to take an offensive route here and go with wrestle to try and knock a dude down, or become a goblin blodger, or take that dauntless? You get to pick the thing that your team is missing. Ultimately, though, they're all useful. You've picked up your 4th reroll at this point. You've got that apothecary to keep him alive. Sure Hands gives you a ball carrier. Okay, it gives you one goblin who gets to be the captain of the ship. Dauntless and Wrestle gives you a great opportunity to 3++ into something, into a cage, at a target. When you've got a lot of guard, that can be very effective. It is a little bit suicidal. Having one kick piece on this team is wonderful though. So if you haven't rolled kick via a random and you get to 12 SPP, take kick, pin them back, destroy their line, let them come to you through 7 strength 4 players. It's awesome. Or you kick it close and you just spread your team out and you try and collect that ball. You get to dictate the terms and it is so useful. And the way the goblins work is actually you take a couple of randoms, there's only a couple of skills that are no good, and that's fine. Saving up to get the piece you are missing. If you've got a blodge goblin, take a kick goblin. If you've got a sure hands goblin, take a kick goblin. If you've got a kick goblin, take a sure hands goblin. There's a ton of good skills there. It's not really anything you can go wrong with. Now, the other thing you can do is just save up forever and take a stat up. it's what? It's only 6 touchdowns for a goblin, so it is achievable. You're going to be scoring 1 to 2 touchdowns a game, so actually within a spate of I don't know, 6 weeks, you could have a goblin that's got 18 SPP. More likely than not, it's just going to end up as a movement 7 goblin. That's not brilliant. That's not as much fun as some of the other things here. And the ultimate skill, but we're not going to take it at this point, Dirty Player +1. So good on this team. You've got guard, you've got dudes who are knocking other dudes to the ground, and now you get a stompy dude with +1. So it's +1 for your guard, +1 for your guard, +1 for my feet, +3 to these dice. And then after about 20 to 30 games, probably more along the lines of 25 to 30 games, Blackhawks hit 1750. And ultimately, this is a little bit too big, but this is kind of where you end up as a complete Blackhawk team. Anything from 1400 onwards, as far as Blackhawks go, is hurty. They are going to hurt you. But looking at a chunky boy of a Blackhawk team, the Troll, Brawler, and Guard, 2 blitzers there, 2 Blackhawk blitzers now. Block, Mighty Blow, and Tackle. They are your everyman pieces. They've got that angle at removal. They can block, which means that they've got that ability to use that combat skill on offense instead of while they're blitzing, basically. And you've got that tackle to help take out those horrible blodgers, the little dudes. You can just be really superior sweepers. And you've got 4 Block, Guard, Mighty Blow Blackhawks as well. They're supporting that Troll. That's 5 dudes there who've all got this interwoven net of grab and +1 strength. Everybody there is going to be blocking at strength 5, strength 6, and it is just going to throw so many dice at your opponent. It's gonna be horrific. Goblin Bruiser with Sneaky Git saved up and took Dirty Player. This does work the other way around. If you take a Goblin Bruiser, he gets a random Dirty Player, then you save up and you take Sneaky Git. You just need one of those dudes, and that combos insanely well with that guard spam that you've got. You knock a dude down, you've got Sneaky Git, run up, put the boot in. It's a great way to take off extra players, okay? It basically gives you an 8th Mighty Blow player, and that's going to win some games for you. There's nothing else to add at this point. Blackhawks, they max out, and that's fine. The good thing here is that the difference between a 1500 team and a 750 team is just more good stuff. So you have every right, and you genuinely can just cap your own team at 1500 when you've got everybody with 2 skills, block and Mighty Blow, block and guard. That's not what we're going for, Mighty Blow and guard. You've got that team of stuff. You can stop leveling up your guys. And you can keep that TV low, because as you go forward, you're thinking, do I want Mighty Blow on every guy, or do I want the ability to hire a star player? Do I want the ability to take a bomber? You know, and it gives you that flexibility within your team to play the inducement game. Now, 1750, this Blackhawk team could take on and beat anybody, and I would love that game. That would be an absolute chunky boy of a match. I love Blackhawks. This is how I view them shaping up and playing. The random goblin stuff gives you that flexibility and that fun element, and those Blackhawks just going to win on the line. If you get left behind, you can't catch up, and that's fine. That's just one of the downsides. But being able to have that brawler, guard, grab, spam is just so much fun. It's so controlling, and your opponent can get some fun breakaways. Blackhawks are one of those teams that are tough to run. They're fun to run, and they're fun to play against, and they are a superb addition to Blood Bowl. So if you're thinking about getting a Blackhawk team, do it. It's great fun. The Goblins are great. The Blackhawks are powerful but not over the top. It's a wonderful team. They've done it really well, and at 1750, it's horrible. Anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap up for now. Let me know what you think of Blackhawks. Let me know some other skills that you think work really well. Didn't mention Pile Driver. Actually, with that amount of guard, could be quite fun, or could be a great way to get your player sent off. Anyway, let me know what you think. Thanks very much for watching. We'll be back with some more Blood Bowl content soon. Happy blocking.
Thanks very much for watching. We really appreciate your support. If you want to help support the channel even further, please like and subscribe, or come join us on our Patreon. We have early access to content, we get loads of feedback from you guys, and we try and do competitions as much as we can. Or you can get yourself some Bonehead podcast merch on our Spreadshirt site. So if you want to support a team, especially for the Bonehead Championship, you can pick up a shirt, a mug, things like that. It all helps support the channel, and we really appreciate it. Anyway, links below. Thank you very much. Happy blocking.